With the YouTube apocalypse still looming over many channels, if you want to support this one, check out my Teespring store for the latest merch. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and I normally don't like to read Polygon, but I came across this article, this headline, and I just had to stop. I had to do a bit of a double take and kind of like go, what? Because apparently Zoe Quinn is now writing a comic for DC Comics' relaunch of Vertigo. Yeah, sure, okay. Did you guys read Crash Override? It's a pretty poorly written book, and there are lots of factual inaccuracies. In fact, every time I mentioned, which is 3, they were all based on a lot of BS, and it's all provable too, which is pretty damn funny. So the fact that Zoe Quinn is making her way into comics leads me to believe that her movie deal at Sony fell through. They're not going to be working on the Crash Override film, and Charlize Theron will not be playing Zoe Quinn in the movie. Never mind that Charlize Theron is a lot older than Zoe Quinn, arguably. No, not arguably, subjectively more attractive. And then, of course, you've got, the fact that gaming doesn't want her anymore. So she's moving over to comics because this is where things are. Anita's invading tabletop games and Zoe's headed to comics. You guys are going to have a lot of fun. I just want to point out that you welcome to our hell. This will be your personal Vietnam. I'm obviously being hyperbolic, but let's take a look here at the article. So it says, to celebrate Imprint's 25th anniversary, DC Entertainment is announcing a line of relaunch and rebrand of its venerable Vertigo publishing imprint. Helmed by executive director Mark Doyle, Vertigo, now called DC Vertigo, which won't help, I think, with sales, to be honest with you, will focus on modern, socially relevant, and inventive stories that capture a whole range of genres and potentially a whole range of readers. Well, I just want to start off by saying here that, well, I'm not against the idea of telling stories from different perspectives, featuring different characters in different situations, from many different walks of life. I think that's how we actually tend to understand more about other cultures, is by experiencing them through the eyes and the lens of characters who are living those experiences. Oftentimes, especially in modern day, these are not done as an educational tool. It's done as more of like an oppression, like a kind of a victimization area, where if you criticize it, it gets used against you as you're being oppressive. This is what we've seen for quite some time. Now, I'm not to say this is going to happen to everybody. This is going to be every one of these stories. I have no idea. But oftentimes in recent years, this is what we've seen. And to counter that, and DC Vertigo, Mark Doyle, I really hope you pay attention to Marvel's numbers, right? I hope you look at Marvel's. I know DC beats out Marvel oftentimes when it comes to comic sales, but you gotta look at the whole like, Queen of Hell, right? Angela, Queen of Hell, and you've got the Mockingjay, and you've got other pro social justice warrior, regressive leftist comics that are attacking conservatives, and they stopped getting sold. I know a lot of liberals that bought comics that stopped buying these comics because they don't like the attitude that's in there, or they just moved over to piracy. If that's what you want, if you want people to pirate your shit, there you go. But this is where we're at right now, and going down this path. And the people who are involved are going to be kind of a key indicator that this is where you're headed. Get ready to cancel these series probably faster than you greenlit them, because people just are not going to buy them. Because these people, and I want you to brace for impact here, because this is the hottest take you will need to listen to in regards to this particular subject. And yeah, I had the balls to say it. These people do not buy this type of content, by the way. They don't actually spend the money. They get on Twitter, they get on social media, they bitch and they moan till their heart's content. They get the quote-unquote change they want without ever actually being the change that they want to see in the world. So they're only one half of that particular quote, which screws everything up. And as a result of that, you start losing money. So welcome to the party, pal. Now, it says it's time to rebrand DC Vertigo, explained Doyle in a press release. We're returning to our roots by spotlighting the most exciting new voices in comics, as well as bringing new voices to comics. Okay. Now, those new voices include a sex education podcast host. Okay. The art director for 9 Inch Nails, and Zoe Quinn, the co-founder of Crash Override Network for victims of mob-based online abuse. Yes, what has Crash Override been up to lately? What has Crash Override done at all? Like, I mean, the last time I heard about Crash Override is it when there was a fallout from people who were within the inner circle, and all the crap that went on with that, right? So the only thing we heard about Crash Override in last year, the only mention of it that I've really seen came out of Anita Sarkeesian once at VidCon when she pimped it without ever disclosing that her 501c3 nonprofit Feminist Frequency funnels money into Crash Override, and then also on Anita's year in review, their annual report for their nonprofit, of which they are legally obligated to provide. And as a result of that, otherwise I've seen nothing. Even Zoe Quinn's book Crash Override, barely mentioned. Now, Doyle's familiar with the Vertigo line as he began his career with the imprint back in 2006, but he also spent time overseeing DC's Batman titles. While he oversaw Batman, Gotham City was home to a variety of books in a variety of tones, like Gotham Academy, Batgirl, and Grayson. Doyle says that he's bringing that passion back with him to Vertigo, hoping to inspire a new era of graphic storytelling. Didn't Gotham Academy suck? Batgirl was marred by controversy, and Grayson was like Nightwing as a private detective or something. I'll pass. He says here, that's what it's always been about for me. New stories, new voices, new possibilities. We're creating a new generation of Vertigo classics, or DC Vertigo classics for all readers of all genres. Now, here's the thing. I do want to quickly pause and kind of point out one little thing here. I am not against people like Zoe Quinn writing a book. I just want to make that clear. It depends on what she's writing and how she's presenting it. And it's all about that. If you're telling me a story and you want to add in political stuff, I'm cool with that. But when it becomes overbearing, nailing you on the head with the frying pan repeatedly, then it becomes a bit cringy. And that's, I think, what's going to end up happening here, because the first couple issues probably will have a little bit, and then it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And we've seen this with Marvel, especially when you had the whole situation with the unsolicited opinions on Israel bubble that popped up from Thor's grandfather. Yeah. Like, what does he care about what's going on in the Gaza Strip right now? Like, he doesn't care. He's a Norse god, for Christ's sake. This is what I'm talking about. Interjecting personal politics into characters of which it doesn't belong. Now, these are kind of like new stuff, so that could be a little bit different. I do want to, be objective in that particular regard. Now, we're going to go through what comics they are releasing before we get down to Zoe Quinn here. So it says Border Town, written by Eric M. Esquivel. It says here that when a crack in the border between worlds releases an army of monsters from Mexican folklore into the small town of Devil's Fork, Arizona, the residents blame ensuing weirdness and the shared nightmares, the otherworldly radio transmissions, the mysterious goat mutilations on god dang illegals. With racial tension supernaturally charged, is up to the new kid in town, Frank Dominguez, and a motley crew of high school misfits to discover what's really going on. So, okay. Seems interesting enough. Based upon the cover here, I'm just going to go on a limb and say Monster Squad did it better, because that's kind of what it feels like a little bit. Then you've got Hex Wives, written by Ben Blacker, and it says here that women are too powerful, they must be tamed. A malevolent conspiracy of men brainwashes a coven of witches to be subservient suburban housewives, but it's only a matter of time before the women remember their power. So what is this, like Stepford Wives meets Get Out, but with people actually remembering at the end? And then, of course, crazy crap goes down. That's not much of a synopsis to blow my skirt up. I'm sorry, Ben. A malevolent conspiracy of men brainwashes a coven of witches. I know that it's fake, it's not real, but I don't quite see that happening. Would it be warlocks possibly that would be able to brainwash a coven of witches? Would that be a thing? I'm just kind of curious what's the men's supernatural connection here. You're not really selling me on a narrative that I'm going to find to be super interesting. I just want to put that out there. You got American Carnage here from Brian Hill. And it says, in this thrilling crime saga, disgraced FBI agent Richard Wright, who is biracial, can pass for white, goes undercover in a white supremacist group believed to be responsible for the death of a fellow agent. That seems interesting. That might touch upon some interesting things. And that has a lot to do oftentimes with mixed race people, biracial people who pass for white and oftentimes, are denied their heritage on one side or the other. That's an interesting take. That could actually be interesting. The only one here so far that actually seems like it's talking about something from the perspective of exploring a racial issue, rather than trying to push maybe a specific narrative. Although that one, the Border Town thing, maybe, but it just looks like kind of a ripoff of Monster Squad, as I said. Now here we get to Zoe Quinn. Godless Mode, written by Zoe Quinn. And here's the synopsis. In a near future where all of humanity's needs are administered by a godlike AI, it's one woman's horrible job to do tech support on it. But when Cassandra finds herself violently drawn into a hidden and deadly digital world beneath our own, she discovers a group of superpowered women and horrific monsters locked in a secret war for the cheat codes to reality. Okay. So this is coming out in December, and that sounds absolutely horrible. So humanity's needs are administered by a godlike AI. So what, food, water, shelter, things like that. And then there's a tech support agent on a godlike AI. If it was a godlike AI, wouldn't that basically have like very little need for tech support? And of course, obviously, it's trying to play into the whole notion of, oh, I work at a tech support. I deal with idiots and a-holes all day. And that's going to be a big part of it, obviously. And she finds herself violently drawn into the hidden and deadly digital world beneath our own. Okay. You know, is there a digital world beneath our own? I figured there'd be a digital world in the digital space, which is adjacent to real life, so to speak. But she discovered, oh, hold on though. So she's drawn into a hidden and deadly digital world. So is this the Matrix? Is this what's happening here? And like, and underneath you go into like into the unexplored areas of the code, right? Old code. And then you find superpowered women and horrific monsters locked in a secret war for the cheat codes to reality. It comes across like a really crappy YA novel. You know, goddess mode. Look, there's other things in this list so far that have been pandering. This one's pretty pandering. And it's, yeah. Good luck with that one, Zoe. I don't think that, I don't think people are going to care as much as you want them to care. It's a pretty contrived process. You're gonna probably sell okay for the first maybe month, simply because people are going to buy it to support you, just like they bought your book. But at the same time, no one's talking about your book anymore, and this is where you found yourself at. So good luck. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets about 4 issues in before DC Vertigo pulls the plug, simply because people just aren't going to be buying it. Like I said, you're going to have strong first month sales, and then after that, it's quite literally all downhill from there. Because I'm sorry, like, I'm critical of Zoe Quinn because, you know, I have reasons to be. She's lied about me in a publication multiple times, and you know, yeah, I've read her book. She's not a talented writer. This is gonna read like some Tumblr fan fiction, and yeah. But I'll definitely be reviewing it. So I'll toss her $4. I'll toss her $4, and I'll read it and I'll review it. How about that? That's my gift to you, Zoe. I'll suffer for my art, just like you keep claiming you have as well. Anyway, my name is Matt Jarbo. This is Monday Matt Channel. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this one. Are you gonna give any of these a go? Are you gonna care at all? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, check back often for more content from me. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/Monday Matt's a great way. If not, just watch more content, which you can totally do right now.